I'm Jim Csek with KelownaNow. I'm here with your need to know. We got lots going on today. We've got a moving background in the background. A good big shout out to Jason and Rommel here. We're going to try a few technical things today, so excuse us if there's a couple of glitches along the way. But hey, we're going to give this our best shot. Yesterday we didn't get to do this because there was a lot of technical glitches in our new format. But look at that, traffic's moving in Kelowna. Seems to be moving along quite well. There's your traffic report for this morning. We'll start with the Bank of Canada. That was a story, a big story yesterday. Bank of Canada dropped by 0.5, big drop, down to 3.75. And then Chrystia Freeland put out a tweet today saying, good news from the Bank of Canada, cutting rates. They're the first of the G7 to cut rates 4 times. She fails to mention, though, that after Tiff Macklin said a couple of years ago, I think about 3 years ago, that they wouldn't raise rates, and they raised them 19-fold. And now we're only at 14-fold. So I don't know, slow clap, I guess, for that one. Moving on, big moves afoot by even Liberal MPs to oust Justin Trudeau, asking him to resign. Reportedly 20 to 30, you hear different numbers. Even I've heard reports of 40 MPs have signed a letter to ask Justin Trudeau to resign. They had their meeting, and they came back with and says, Pierre Poilievre is the common enemy, we need to unite. So I don't think, CBC's reporting that 24 MPs signed that agreement, but after the meeting, they're saying that they're uniting to fight the common enemy being Pierre Poilievre. Kent Mulgat went out yesterday in Kelowna based on that story where Christy Clark has thrown her hat in the ring and asking, is it time for Justin to leave? And would Christy Clark be a good replacement? And this is just kind of a small recap of that video. You can go on Kelowna Now to watch the full video, but Jason, if you could play that video.
There's been talk about former BC Premier Christy Clark taking over for Justin Trudeau to lead the federal Liberals. So would that improve people's feelings about the federal Liberal Party?
Because the Liberal Party ideas are just too far gone.
I think the problems with the Liberal Party are probably a little bit beyond Justin Trudeau now.
Yeah.
Had we not just built a house here, we would have moved to another country.
So I think, having somebody like Christy Clark who would be a little bit more centered.
I'm not sure about Christy Clark anymore. So,
it's been a while
and I'm not a fan of Justin Trudeau.
Trudeau emerged saying the party was united, so the whole question may be a moot point.
There we go, we're back. In another story, in five things this morning, more than 5 million people in Canada say they don't have a family doctor. That's pretty bad. Did you have that image to put up there, Jason? Oh, maybe not. There you go. No, that's not the one. It'll be the next one. No, next one. There we go. See, there's a few technical glitches, but we're getting on it, right? So there you go. So 5 million people in Canada don't have a family doctor. That needs to improve for sure. Then we have a message from Danielle Smith. This was on her LinkedIn today, talking about, we noticed in COVID that a lot of voices were silenced. Jason, if you have a clip to play for that Danielle Smith announcement there.
Hi, I'm Premier Danielle Smith, and this is Alberta's Justice Minister Mickey Amery. We'd like to share with you a new initiative by our government to better protect freedom of speech and expression. Albertans value free speech, the right to freely express our beliefs without being censored by others, most especially by government. A diversity of opinions and beliefs is one of the hallmarks of a free, healthy, and democratic society. Many of the greatest ideas and advancements in history started out as non-conventional and controversial ideas that became popular and mainstream only after brave women and men were able to convince their fellow citizens of their value.
Albertans should never be discouraged from holding a wide array of political, ideological, and social views, or from expressing as what they believe to be true. The importance of free speech and the marketplace of ideas to healthy democracies is nothing new, and yet there are some troubling trends that we're seeing around the world.
There you go. If you want to watch the full thing, we'll put the link in the description there so you can go watch that full thing with Danielle Smith and the Justice Minister there. I did an interview with Mario Canseco, the pollster. We let that BC NDP focus on toxic social media posts didn't work. That was that story we did yesterday. We're going to run that video, Jason? Now I have with me again Mario Canseco, and we're going to talk election because it ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet. We're still waiting for the final count.
Claim, I guess, a major victory from going from 2 seats to 45 seats. There's 2 seats still in kind of contention, and there's 49,000 ballots to count.
Ultimately, I think it's a campaign in which the focus on the makeup of the candidates as a way to try to question John Rostad didn't actually work. It's a completely different ball game. I think we're heading into a situation where a lot of the voters who are right now making their minds, especially those who are supportive of the Conservatives.
I mean, that one's really close too, and that recount could change that one as well. And I would say a lot of that is his brand, obviously, in this market, because he's a very popular Kelowna City Councillor candidate.
Well, I think that is something that...
Sorry, Jim, you're on now. I thought that was over there.
Well, there you go. We're back. So that full video is on KelownaNow. You can watch that full video. It's about a 35-minute interview with Mary Conseka. And we talked about the BC election, the Saskatchewan election, a possible federal election, and the U.S. election. So lots covered off in there. We just give you a small clip of that. And then this morning, Justin Trudeau confirms major cuts to immigrant numbers. And then we have a small clip here from Mark Miller that we're going to play here.
The caps that we put in place are not measures that we took lightly, nor are the measures taken today ones that we're taking lightly without reflection. We are an open country, but not everyone can come to this country. Permanent residency is something that we hold dear. It has a value, as does Canadian citizenship. We've been a very generous country and will continue to do so. The numbers that we announce today roughly take us to back to a very ambitious plan that was put forward in about 2020. It reflects the fact that we have and we will continue to listen to Canadians. That's something that's important because the people standing behind me today are people that have been speaking to their constituents, have been speaking to economists, have been speaking to universities and institutions, and listening to their own families. And they've said consistently that while we are still and continue to be an open country, that volume that we have put forward is something that is of concern. And indeed, the latest Environics poll says as much. There are limits to governing by poll.
I think we can probably cut it there. There you go. If you want to watch the full thing, it's on KelownaNow's Twitter as well. We did a story yesterday again, Crafty Kitchen calling it quits after 10 years, and also the Orchard Room. So Kent Mulgat went out there and talked to him. Here's a quick kind of like condensed version of that video. You can go to KelownaNow and watch the full video. Jason, you want to roll that video?
Small businesses and restaurants in particular have had a tough go of it over the past year. So after 10 years, the owner and chef of the Crafty Kitchen and Bar is hanging it up at the end of the year.
I want to start a family. I want to focus on my private chefing, catering, and health and wellness, and actually, making some changes, not just to my own life, but also helping people make changes in their life that are meaningful. As costs increase, as things become more competitive and more difficult financially for businesses of all kinds to make ends meet.
It's Crafty Kitchen and the Orchard Room?
That's right. So they're going for sale independently, and then they'll also be sold as an entity.
So there you go, some sad news there from a couple of restaurants downtown. Again, you can go to KelownaNow.com and you can watch that full video, and you can read the story by Kent Mulgat, and Nick was there running the camera. And in our AI segment, which we're going to try and do every day, we have some big news out of Tesla. Tesla reported earnings yesterday after the close, and big news out of Tesla. Stock up huge on the news. They beat on revenue. They beat on almost everything. And a couple of notes in there for sure on that is there's more affordable models on track for the first half of 2025. Rough estimate of 20 to 30% vehicle growth next year, unless something major. They say, like a major world event. You can see Optimus dancing there. That was from the 1010 event. The Cyber Cab, which I think Jason will put up a video here. Volume production is starting in 2026. Not just starting to produce this car, but actually reaching volume. And they expect to do about 2 million units a year of the Cybercab, and maybe 4 million ultimately. And they're talking about people being able to buy multiple of these and then running kind of like their own kind of Uber business, or similar to an Uber business. The 4680 cell rapidly approaching the most competitive cost in North America. The We Robot, which Jason showed a few seconds ago, they're saying they're going to have a 2 times hand improvement. It's on the way, and that hand is already it articulates very well. And they say Tesla has said that they're the only company that has the ability to scale humanoid robots. The other companies are missing the AI brain, plus the ability to scale at very high production. And this from Elon Musk. Optimus, which you see dancing there, several Optimuses, will likely be the most valuable product ever made by any company. So that's a pretty bold statement, wouldn't you say, Jason?
This is like right out of the Jetsons. Everybody's going to have a Rosie.
You remember Rosie? Well, I think Elon says everybody can have their own RDT2, right? And was it CP30? Right?
Yeah,
CP30 was the guy that walked around, right? Like, and the energy business has ultimately reached multiple terawatts per year. So big stuff going on Tesla, and the stock is shooting up dramatically this morning. So, but the robot one is definitely the intriguing one for a lot of people. I think that one is. If you think about it, if you had somebody that had your lunch ready or your dinner ready when you got home, and the dog was already let out, and it actually acts as your security as well at home, right? Because it can make calls and do all kinds of things, right? So, soon as they put pre-orders in, I'm in. Right? How about you, Jason? How many do you need?
With 3 kids and 2 dogs, I could use a couple probably.
There you go. I think the show went off fairly well, right? You can probably pull those images down. We got that beautiful backdrop of Kelowna. I think that's a big win for us. I think that's a win there for sure. And the beautiful fall Okanagan colors. It's absolutely wonderful out there. And I'm even sporting the KelownaNow hat this morning. So most of all, we thank you for watching Kelowna Now. And at some point, we're going to run our close screen.